The nurturing community building podcasts, which are really the podcasts that are going to have the longevity, are the ones that comfort. They're the ones that you curl up with your warm beverage and say, oh, I'm so glad that I get to listen to this person.
Welcome to Girls Make Bank, the podcast show for women who want to learn the art of selling for business and for life. I'm Jac White, seasoned sales professional, entrepreneur, and owner of Honeybees Group. Come back each week to hear inspiring stories from some of our favorite business owners. Learn how to take the ache out of selling and make bank. We're all in this together, so let's get started. Girls Make Bank is officially 1 year old this month, and it feels fitting to have Jess Milanes on as my guest. Jess is the founder of Smart Podcast Solutions and Known. She is the producer of Girls Make Bank and has helped tons of women find their voice, build their legacy through podcasting. She has become a dear friend of mine. She's also a part of the Honeybees Sales Circle. In this episode, Jess gets honest about her personal struggles, how she got into podcasting, and what the future of her business is. We laughed, we cried, and it just shows me everything that I love about Jess. She's so vulnerable and honest and generous in her spirit and in her wisdom. So I can't wait for you to get to hear a little bit from Jess. Stick around for this episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Make Bank. This is going to be a really fun one for me because I am joined by the person behind Girls Make Bank that brings this whole thing to life. I am joined by Jess Milanes, who has been such a force since we met almost 2 years ago. I love what she is building. I love what she is helping women, business leaders find. I love what she has brought out in myself. And I think every woman founder should know Jess. And so, Jess, welcome to the front of Girls Make Bank. Hi.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for that intro. And I have to say, everything that I brought out in you was already in you. And you have just done remarkable things with this podcast. So snaps, we're going to have like some teary-eyed moments.
Yeah, such a love
here.
fest.
I can already tell. But yeah, it's great to be here.
I mean, if that is not the introduction of everybody's dreams, tell people who don't know you and know your story about Jess and how you got into what it is you do now, because you have a very interesting backstory.
Yeah. So I, much like many of my clients and much like many other women out there, we think that it all just accidentally comes together. But there's always something there that propels us to the next thing, right? And I used to say I had no idea that I would ever get into podcasting. I had no idea that I would ever do marketing or anything like that. And then I actually realized, oh, my degree is in communications. Of course, I know how to communicate well. But that isn't what I did in the corporate world. What I did in the corporate world was actually build systems for banks. I was really good at the technical component of it and really good with communicating what needed to be done. And in 2019, I was exploring entrepreneurship. I had a great job, but I was bored. Like, it didn't fill my cup. And so I was exploring entrepreneurship. A woman that I was working with, a coach, suggested that I should be an infertility coach because we were struggling with infertility at that time. And my gut just told me, no, that's not the thing to do. But as I did a little bit more thought and sitting with it, I realized, oh, I could start a podcast. And so I started a podcast in 2019 called Real Talk, Women's Health and Infertility. And it was really designed to build a community and reduce stigma around women's health. That being said, 2025 is a totally different landscape than it was in 2019. Women were not talking about miscarriages, infertility, IVF, all the myriad of women's health issues. For better or worse, the administrations have made it more the forefront issue, which is great. That being said, I ran this podcast for about 6 months, loved it, and thought, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I want to, at that time, I was calling it a podcast VA because I didn't know what else to call it. And brought it to my coach, and she said, no, you don't want to do that. You're trading time for money. I put it on the shelf, and then we got devastating news. We were told that we would never get pregnant naturally, and IVF was off the table. I shut everything down in my life that was non-necessary. And then, by the grace of God, 30 days later, we found out that I was pregnant. My daughter is 5 years old. She's super healthy, super spunky, just like her mom. But that pregnancy and period of pregnancy was very tumultuous because she was born in May of 2020. And I didn't have enough space to go back and start a business. It was all about making life work. So finally, in May of 2022, I had enough space and capacity to start my own business. And I started my first iteration of my business, which is Smart Podcast Solutions. And that is a podcast production agency that is designed to help you ideate and strategize your podcast to help you meet your goals, whatever that goal may be. And then we also do all the post-production work. So that is how I got into podcasting. But from May of 2022 to today, September of 2025, I'm a totally different person. I'm a totally different business owner. And so my business has evolved. And now we are evolving into our new iteration, which is known.
And I want to talk about known. We're going to get there. You and I connected on one. I loved what you were doing as soon as we met from a work perspective. It wasn't until we met in person at Founders Weekend in Florida for Entreprenista League where we connected on a woman level and we shared our infertility stories. I first started my infertility journey in early 2000s. Nobody was talking about it. And we both agreed how great it was that people now had resources and support and community, and it was a part of the conversation. The stigma is much lower now than it was then. I love that we now both are raising these little tiny humans and getting to watch them grow and develop into these, I'm sure, wild teenagers and young adults one day. Not too soon, but one day. And so I love that. And I always appreciate your ability to be vulnerable and honest with sharing your story because that, as you know, has been difficult for me over time. And you've really helped me build the confidence in myself to be able to share parts of that story. One, thank you for that. But also, I think it's what makes you so great at what you do is you're able to pull things out of people and give them the confidence and the security blanket to share their stories, which is so much about what podcasting is. And so from your perspective as someone who helps create and build podcasts and build their stories, what makes a great podcast and what makes a great podcast really stand out in today's market?
I think it all really depends on what you want your podcast to be. There are some people who are trying to be the next Alex Cooper or Joe Rogan and be a podcast star. And in order to stand out and do that, you kind of have to do like really outrageous, crazy things that maybe that's who you are. And if that is fantastic, I don't want to work with you because I don't. That's just not who I like to work with. If you want to build connections with your audience and deepen your personal story and just build community, that is where I really live and the type of podcast that I'm going to talk about how to stand out and what makes a good podcast. Always, always, always. And we talked about this when we were launching Girls Make Bank. You have to have a goal in mind for your podcast. What is this podcast serving you for? What is it giving you? What is it giving your audience? Those are the two fundamental questions that everybody needs to ask themselves in order to have a good podcast. And you'd be shocked how many people don't think about what's in it for me and what's in it for my audience. It's one or the other. That's really step one. Step two is And you've done a beautiful job of this, of weaving in personal antidotes, personal stories, while also sharing educational moments or sharing guests. There's this beautiful way of opening up a relationship, like cracking open a little bit when you do these types of podcasts. And the nurturing community building podcasts, which are really the podcasts that are going to have the longevity, are the ones that comfort. They're the ones that you curl up with your warm beverage and say, oh, I'm so glad that I get to listen to this person. Or maybe it's like your favorite TV show. Like mine is Great British Bake Off. I watch all of the Great British
Love
Bake Off
that show.
multiple times. Like
Yes.
I'm obsessed. And that's where I go to comfort myself. And it's because they really do a great job in storytelling and building those personalities on the show. And so a podcast, it's great to have the educational content, but it's also really great to show who you are and build a more personal side of you that maybe you can't actually share in short form content on social media or in your email newsletters.
I liked that you brought this to life. So personal but intimate, because we've had this conversation a lot. Podcasting for me, talking about goals, has been a way to build my visibility, build my brand as I am focused on building Honeybees Group as a business. One of the things I think a lot of people struggle with is oversharing what feels like really personal information. And you told me something a long time ago that has stuck with me that I say over and over and over again is personal, not intimate. There is a difference between sharing things about yourself that is personal without sharing too much, which dips into the intimate. And you can comment on that, you cannot comment on that. But for me, that is something that as I'm doing more storytelling, as I'm putting myself out there, as I'm creating more content on more platforms, I always keep in mind, because we've all had those moments where it's like, should we put this out there? Should we not put this out there? Every woman, small business owner, needs to create a platform for herself. If I didn't believe that before, I feel so strongly about it now. And this idea of sharing the personal and not the intimate really sticks with me. And I got that from you.
Yeah. I think if people are listening to this and going, what is that distinction? How do I
Yeah.
know what's personal versus intimate? I want them to go back to a couple weeks ago, one of your episodes, where you talked about cleaning out your son's room.
Mm.
Every woman who is a mother has had that moment of, oh, I have to do this. I have to clean out this room. They felt it. They connected with you. I
Yeah.
did. I was like, oh, shoot, I need to go clean out my kid's room.
Yeah.
But you didn't share your son's name. You didn't share any of the stuffies. You didn't share really anything else about it. And that was the perfect distinction for you, because it can be different for everybody, but for you, of the personal versus the intimate.
Why do you think more women should be doing podcasts and should be putting themselves out there?
So I think that women are the most underrated, powerful business people in the world.
Hell yeah.
I think we get so much done in a day because we are doing all of the things, whether we want to or not. We're tasked with it. We have
Mm-hmm.
this invisible mental load and an unpaid labor, the second shift. We just do. And with that comes unique experience, unique expertise, tribal knowledge that the generations below us need to know. And I think that women deserve to be amplified in a way that we are not currently being amplified. That is why I believe more women should start a podcast. I think we need to speak our truth on whatever platform we can, in whatever way feels right for us. Our truth could be about growing a business. Our truth could be about infertility. Our truth could be about dog training. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. But whatever it is, you have a unique perspective in the world that nobody else has. And it deserves to be heard and it deserves to be amplified. And that is why I think women are just so amazing and why they should have a podcast, why they should have a voice in the world.
Yeah. You said something that tribal knowledge. Human beings are tribal people. We used to live in tribes. I mean, fairly recently, right? The last 100 years, we've moved away and we've settled into different places than where we grew up. So we've lost our tribe. And I think a part of what's happening in society right now is we are feeling deeply disconnected from each other. And I love that you connect like storytelling and getting your stories, your perspective, your experience out there with this idea of tribal knowledge, because now this is how we're creating community, is online, is through following people, through listening to other people's stories and connecting. Yes, in real life, that is still definitely important, but connecting in other ways. We're finding our tribes in other ways. And so we then have to find new ways to share that knowledge. So I love that tribal knowledge theme and phrase. And I think it ties really beautifully into what you are building now. So we're talking about women, we're talking about experience, we're talking about tribal knowledge, and you are starting this new part of your business that I am so excited about. I think it's incredibly powerful and is going to do something big for a lot of people. And I want you to tell us what Known is and like really what inspired you to build Known.
All right. Well, I hope you have your tushies ready
I do.
because part of Known really came from our work together. I
Really?
realized, yes, yes.
Okay.
So
That
I loved working with you and having you slowly come out of your shell and deepening your story and deepening your visibility online. And I know that that was really uncomfortable for you.
yeah.
I was craving that in other ways in my business. Podcast production and strategy is great, and it can also be a little bit of a widget factory in a way. And I was really craving deeper relationships with my clients and that deeper conversation. I never considered myself to be a coach. I still don't consider myself to be a coach, but I do a lot of coaching within the podcast containers. And Known came from that. And then also from a side comment that one of my mentors made about a podcast to book experience. And I thought, wait a minute. That's it. And so what Known really is it is an ecosystem designed to elevate your thought leadership, to make you visible to the world, to make you known for whatever it is you want to be known for. That's the beauty. It could be known deeply on a community level. It could be known for your expertise. It could be known for that you love dogs. Whatever it is, whatever you want to be known for, that's something that we're going to work with you on. So the way that it works is that we sit down and we have a strategy call, a paid strategy call, and we just download all of your personal IP, what you want to be known for. And then I turn around and I give you a podcast outline and a book outline. And if you want to do that on your own, go with God. Love that for you. If you want to work with us, we would love to work with you. And through that initial outline piece, we then develop a podcast, a biweekly podcast that will go for a year, ghostwrite a book on top of that podcast. And then I also have partners that will write a keynote speech based off of the book and the podcast. And then I also have a partner now that will build a website for you that encompasses it all. So really the goal is for us to be the white glove service for thought leadership for women who want to be known for more.
Yeah. And we've talked before about legacy building and how building a legacy as a woman is so important to so many of us, right? What are we building for? What are we leaving behind? What are the goals that we're reaching for? And I love this idea of taking things that feel really intimidating and not achievable for someone like me, right? Someone like me, someone like you, someone like what we think is regular people, and saying, no, you have value that people should know about. You have tribal knowledge that you need to share. And we are going to create a framework for you to organize that knowledge, to create a platform for yourself, and give you these different vehicles to share that wisdom with the world. And I was on Coco Selman's podcast a couple months ago, and she asked me, I love her too. She's so fantastic. She asked me to bring a business book written by a woman that I loved, and there wasn't one that I could find. And I have a lot of books on my shelf, could not find one that I liked. And so the other thing that I love about what you're doing is you're giving women the opportunity to get on that bookshelf, to write a book, to share their wisdom and get on the shelf. And I just so appreciate that. And I know that you're the right person to help women do that, because I can see just from the work that we've done together how great you are at helping me do what I do. And so I'm just so excited for this next phase of your business. And so talk to me about, you've been podcasting now for how many years have you been running your business? A while.
So about 3.5 since I
Okay.
started Smart Podcast Solutions, but I started I've been in the podcasting-ish space since 2019.
Right. Talk to me about the emotional side of launching Known, because Smart Podcast Solutions still exists, right? This is the next level. This is a new offering. Talk to me about doing something new after podcasting and having your business for 3.5 years. What goes into that?
I wish I could say that it was so easy. Now I know there are certain things that are easy, right? Like I know to not invest gobs of money in a brand right now because I'm still building it. I'm still validating the offer. But on the other hand, I am targeting a whole new ICP. I am targeting a whole new audience. I have to get crystal clear on who it is I serve, how I serve them, and where those people are. That's the hard part. At the end of the day, I could have a great product, but you have to sell in order for the great product to be out in the world and to be considered successful. And so I think that coming to terms with, I have this great idea, but now I need to go sell it.
Yeah.
And there is a deep level of discomfort in selling to this new audience. There's a deep level of discomfort in wrapping my head around what sales actually is at this level versus throwing up an Instagram post, because these people are not just going to buy off of an Instagram post. It's all very, very uncomfortable. But I'm smarter because I've been through the 3.5 years in business. And I know that this discomfort is leading to something good. I just need to have the patience and the distress tolerance to live in this discomfort from now until another 3.5 years, when who knows what I'll be doing.
I mean, building is hard.
Yeah.
Building is hard. It's hard to build. Uncomfortable is my word of the year. I say it all the time because I'm in a building phase, and building is hard. It's uncomfortable. But pushing through that and doing the right things is where the growth and the magic happens. Building good shit is tough.
It is.
I don't know. That's the way it goes. And I feel like we do ourselves a disservice when we listen to all of the voices that say, it's so easy, just do X, Y, and Z, because it's not. If you're building the right way, it doesn't mean you're not aligned. You could be really aligned, but it's hard work and it takes stick-to-itiveness. Is that a word? Yeah. Okay. It takes.
I mean, it feels like it should be a word.
Yeah, it should be. And so speaking of sales, you are also a part of the Honeybee Sales Circle, which is part of my beta group, which I love, my OG Sales Circle girls. Talk to me about what you found in the community.
Here's where I get to wax poetic more about Jac. So Jac, she'd like to talk about how I'm a community builder. Jac builds freaking community. Let me tell you, her OG Sales Circle girls, y'all know who you are. I know you're all listening to this, are amazing. So she really curates an amazing, amazing room for you to be in. And I am probably like everybody else out there who is not a sales professional, wonders what the heck is sales actually? And I have found such good information within the sales circle to understand, like, oh, this is part of sales. Oh, that makes sense why I'm doing that now. I need those building blocks in
Mhm.
order and like a reason behind the sales methodology.
Yeah.
I won't just do something because somebody says it's a good idea. And you've really laid out a beautiful foundational curriculum for people to understand this comes first, this comes second, this comes third. You need to have all these pieces in place before you actually go and really sell.
Who?
Like you
Yeah.
need to know who you're talking to, what you're talking about, and what's your unique take on this. And, I might have intuitively knew all that, but you just guided us through it so well. So
Thank you.
the sales circle has been so amazing. I have loved it. And I even went through an iteration, I don't know if you remember, early on in the sales circle, where I was going to be targeting a totally different
Yeah.
ICP and it was more B2B. And I thought, oh, this is where I'm headed. And then Known came up. And because of all the tools that you've given me in sales circle, I've been able to condense a lot down and get really clear on who it is I serve and how I serve them.
And condensing time is really important when you're building a business
Yes.
because you need to move fast. And thank you for that. I love the group that we have created in Sales Circle because one of the things is I'm there as a guide, as a facilitator, as a coach. One of the things I love also is that everyone jumps in. When somebody's like, hey, I have a problem here, you get a bunch of different perspectives and a bunch of different insights and tips. It really is a fantastic group who genuinely want to see each other succeed, which
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah. And I want to say too, to your point, it's so collaborative. I don't feel any competition within the group. I've loved seeing everybody blossom from the
Mhm.
first day to where they are now. It's been a real honor to witness that journey.
Yeah.
For them as well.
We curate for the vibe check because the vibe check is important
It is.
when you're building community. What does making bank mean to you right now in terms of where you are in your business?
It could mean so many different things, but honestly, right now, making bank means that I get to pay myself a good salary while being present for my daughter, my family, and myself.
Yeah. Amen.
As simple as that. I mean, I could say I want a multi-seven-figure revenue business, and sure, sounds great.
Yeah.
But I don't want that at the expense of where I'm at in my stage of life right now, which is my child comes first,
Yes.
not my business.
And it's about the seasons, right? The seasons of your life. Sometimes business comes first, sometimes family comes first. One of the things I've struggled with is giving myself grace and knowing how to set priorities in the right way. Because when you're used to prioritizing life in a certain way and then you're not able to do that, or I'm the primary caregiver for our son because my husband has to go into the office every day, life happens, priorities shift sometimes on a dime. And so I love that making money with your priorities set the way you want them to be set, whatever that means for you.
Yeah. And I have to keep reminding myself of that because I am someone that can daydream and run with a number and go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we can take a real nice vacation with this money.
Yeah.
What would happen to me? What would happen to
Right.
my life if I hit that level?
Yep.
If I can hit that level while still being true to my values, then that's sounds great.
Yeah.
But living within my values is what really is making big is all about right now.
I love that. Where can people find you and connect with you and learn more about Known?
Sure. I am most active on LinkedIn and Instagram. My handle on Instagram is Jess Milanes, JessMilanes. And same on LinkedIn. You can just find me under, I think it's Jess Milanes, not Jessica Milanes. My website for Known is www.theknown.com. And known is spelled KNWN, so without the O. And yeah, reach out, say hi. Would love to know that you're listening to this podcast because we put so much time and effort into it if you're interested in learning more.
Yeah, for sure. Podcasting has changed my professional life and my personal life. I mean, it's so much fun. And even my son, when people ask him question, he's like, "Oh, my mom works at Girls Make Bank." Like that's what he knows me to do. And when we go somewhere and he sees women working in a coffee shop, he's like, "Oh, mom, are they a part of Girls Make Bank?" He just gets it and he knows. And it's so sweet. If anyone has ever thought that maybe you are interested in doing a podcast, or if anyone has ever thought about how can I build a platform for myself and take my tribal knowledge and share it with the world, you have to meet Jess and you guys have to set up a call and you have to learn about what she's doing because that's what it's all about, is taking what you know, taking your experiences and sharing it in a way that fits for you and people want to engage with. And so from me, I just want to say thank you because this would not exist without you. I met with a lot of people before I decided to do this, and I didn't want to do it with anybody else. And so just thank you for always encouraging all of the women that you work with to share our stories and our wisdom and our whatever knowledge we know, helping us to share it. So thank you so much. And this is really, I can't think of a better way to celebrate 1 year of Girls Make Bank than having you on to celebrate. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jac.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Make Bank. If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe, like, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Please review and share our show to help spread the word and help your girls make bank. And I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or visit honeybeesgroup.co. Until next time, friends.